I was in the hospital for about 4 days. I was in the stroke unit. We had known a cardiologist in Houston. He was a plant-based doctor, and his whole thought process was healing through food, not medicine. And he put me on a plant-based diet, raw food, for like 4 weeks. That was very good and trying. You try to find different ways to eat salad, try to find different ways to, eat zucchini and fruits and vegetables and those types of things. But one of the things it did was it helped me to get stable.
Welcome to Plant the Change. I'm Michelle Fosnot, founder of Solid Rock, Florida, an innovative nonprofit that includes Solid Rock Community School, providing K-12 education, and the Sanctuary at Solid Rock, offering lifelong care for animals in need. We're a forward-thinking, eco-advanced organization dedicated to compassionate, humane education. Okay, well, hello, friends, and welcome to Plant the Change. Today, we have a special guest whose life embodies Solid Rock values of compassion, hard work, personal responsibility, and healthy living. Charlie Ward Jr. is a devoted husband, a father, a mentor, and a coach. He inspires both adults and youth with his character and dedication to serving others. Known as a remarkable athlete and human being, Charlie's message of preparation, perseverance, and patience resonates widely. Charlie was an outstanding two-sport athlete at Florida State University, FSU, excelling as a quarterback and point guard. In his senior year, he won over 30 awards, including the Heisman Trophy, and he led the FSU Seminoles to their first ever national championship in 1993. Post-graduation, he played 11 seasons in the NBA, notably with the New York Knicks, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Houston Rockets. After 9 years coaching high school football, he became the head coach at Florida State University High School's basketball team 2018. Today, he travels nationally delivering motivational speeches through his Charlie's Chalk Talk segments, including weekly features on Fox 49's live in Tallahassee and on Facebook. Welcome, Charlie Ward.
Hi, Michelle. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you?
Living the life.
So, Charlie, you've had this impressive career in sports, being a Heisman Trophy winner in football and retiring from a professional basketball career. You were the epitome, literally the epitome of health and fitness, and then yet you had a stroke in your late 40s. Can you tell us about your experience with your stroke and how it impacted your life?
Well, I appreciate you having me on. I had a mini stroke actually while doing something good. I was on a mission trip in Mexico when I had an episode while putting some food in a bag to be able to go out to share with the community. Every time we went, we would take food that the church parishioners that couldn't make it to church or needed food. And so we were packing those bags, and all of a sudden I started feeling a little dreary, weary-eyed, blurry-eyed, and I kept dropping the bag. It kept dropping it, and I kept picking it up. I drop it again, and I pick it up. And then Tanja came over to me and asked me, are you okay? And so when I turned around, she saw that my mouth was drooped, and I said, I'm not feeling well. And so I ended up having to sit down for a minute. And while I was going through my episode, God was definitely in the mix of all of this, because there was the guy that was accompanying us in the group that was a nurse. And he was the coordinator for the food. And there was a food team that went to the store to pick out the food. The fortunate thing for me was he didn't go with them. He stayed back to take care of the kitchen and get everything organized. And so he was there to be able to help aid me back to reality, in a sense, to get me calmed down and get me going through the process. And while all that was going on, Tanja was talking to one of our friends who's a doctor here in Tallahassee and got me through to where I needed to get to. So fast forward I went to hospital. Well, we were in Mexico, so we were out of the country. It was another great miracle. And once we got back to the States, I was there for in the hospital for about 4 days, not loving it because I was in a stroke unit. They took good care of me, but being in the hospital is not fun. Once we got finished through that process, ended up going back to Tallahassee, flying out with the group, and I had to go to a cardiologist. That was one of the recommendations that I had to do once I got back. So once I got back to Tallahassee, I went to a cardiologist, but we had known a cardiologist in Houston, Texas, and we knew what he was about. He was a plant-based doctor, and his whole thought process was healing through food, not medicine. And so we ended up going there to do a consultation with him, and he put me on a plant-based diet, raw food, for like 4 weeks. That was very good and trying because when you're on a raw diet, it just is different. You try to find different ways to eat salad, try to find different ways to, eat zucchini and fruits and vegetables and those types of things. So it was very, very tough for those 4 weeks. But one of the things it did was it helped me to get stable. I was in a stressful job for about 4 years, going through a lot of different changes in a lot of different ways, and my eating habits dwindled. A lot of stress eating during the day and late at night. And I do believe that was a part of it. Once I went to the plant based diet, my life and my health changed. A lot of my numbers were different, my body was different. Since that time, 6 years ago, I've been doing plant based. Now, mind you, my wife has been plant based for quite some time because she lost her dad in 2008 to cancer, but she was moving in the direction of plant based even before that.
So she was already plant-based when you had your stroke?
Yes.
Okay.
She went through the journey with me, which made it a lot easier. And that was very, very helpful for me to be able to maintain what I wanted to do long term. I mean, all of us, we were eating good food. I mean, it wasn't anything crazy. I didn't eat pork or beef. I was doing mainly chicken and turkey. So I'd come to some form of it. But once I was playing, I got to a point where I was drinking more water, and that helped change my trajectory as an athlete, and doing more plant-based food, even though I did have, like I said, the chicken and fish.
Yeah, and that's what people consider the healthy meats, right? So when they look
Right.
at meat, they say, oh, fish. They say it all the time. I hear it every day. Oh, I only eat fish. I'm a pescatarian. Just fish. It's the healthy food. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
And so you're a perfect example of that. You experienced that. Hi, friends. Your support can help make the difference by liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing the Plant the Change podcast. You can also visit us at solidrockflorida.org to learn more about Solid Rock Community School and the Sanctuary at Solid Rock. Your support makes a real impact, and it helps plant the change. Let me ask you, with our school, Solid Rock Community School, we're one of only 2 schools in the U.S. right now that have an exclusive plant-based kitchen. And then we also practice daily PE. So some schools have daily PE, some schools don't. It's something that's very important to us because we want our kids to eat healthy, but we also want them to be moving their bodies. And now you've been teaching high school kids for many years at this point. So what are your thoughts on our approach to healthy foods and physical activity daily for students?
Well, it's commendable that you're able to do that, and you have kids that are willing to participate and be a part of it. But one of the things that we've seen as a family is, our kids, they love vegetables because they were raised on vegetables. I think that's a key for us, that we introduce them to vegetables early on when they were growing up.
Yes.
And so it's not something that's foreign to them, and they're not willing to try different types of vegetables. That's been very helpful. So you all being able to do that and them, the kids participating is a step in the right direction because we know the health benefits of a plant-based diet and also activity. That's something we all have to do. Even if we're not plant-based, we still have to move. It's okay. It's much better to move or have activity. For you guys to be able to put those two together, it definitely will help the kids understand the importance of it and then be educated. You know, a lot of times people need the education behind it.
Right.
Like I tell people, you season your food, you have to season your food if you're plant based as well, just so you can so it can taste well. It's no different. It's just your textures may be different than what you expect, and but over the course of time, you'll start to feel a lot better. One, but two, the textures become what they are. I mean, I've seen people have great results going plant based for a certain amount of time, and they decide to go back. Like,
And then history repeats itself with them.
yes,
They get over the health problems, they lose the weight, they're feeling better, and then they let the old habits back in, and then they repeat the same problems again.
so I just commend you guys for making that a standard at your
I will tell you, it's not easy. It isn't easy. We have many kids who come to our school, and honestly, they've barely had vegetables in some cases. They'll tell us, they will say to us, my mom doesn't buy that kind of food. It goes bad too quick. Or we don't cook at home, so we don't have fresh produce and fresh vegetables and fruit. So we hear that all the time. So one of the things that I found that has been really successful with us at the school is we have our own seed to table garden here. So the kids of the school are part of planting the garden. So they're growing the fruits and vegetables, and they're picking them, and they're putting them in baskets and taking it to the chef to eat. And I think that makes them excited to try new things, because most of the kids today, they're living on frozen food and junk food, and they really don't have a lot of really fresh, healthy food. And that's because parents are so busy working. There's so many things that go along with that hand in hand. And we're really trying to encourage the students at school to try new things. And that way, hoping the parents will do the same at home. We're trying to encourage them also.
Yeah, it's very similar. The model that you're talking about is very similar to what I consider the village model. And that's centered around the parents, families working together.
Yeah.
For me as a coach, and so us working to help the young people or help their kid or student be the best that they can be. And if we go back in time as young kids, we had a village. In order for us to be where we are, we had a village, someone to be able to help us outside of our home to help us achieve our goals. And so we all have villages in our lives. And so those that come into our village, we have to make sure that we're giving them things that sometimes they may not be receiving at home, or they may be receiving differently. And so just giving them different options to be able to help them reach their goals, because everyone has goals and they want to meet them. And a lot of times we don't start taking care of our health until something
Right.
happens.
Till something happens. Yep.
We start to focus more on, I need to do X, Y, and Z. And so I think that's important to be able to, how you guys are doing, feeding them, whether it's small or big, whatever it may be, sharing this wisdom and knowledge with them definitely helps them to start thinking differently, or thinking, how can I help my mom and dad go to the grocery store or go to the farmer's market to pick up some vegetables now, because that's what we do at school.
I don't like every plant-based food. There's some I love, some I don't love as much. And so I think being able to try new things is so important. So with the plant-based kitchen here, like, what do you think as far as students' health and well-being compared to like traditional meal programs. So you know how it plays into health, and you have kids who eat plant-based. So what's your personal feeling about how it actually affects their health and well-being?
First of all, again, I commend you all for having a cook, gourmet cook, to be able to prepare the meals, because that plays a big part in the success of the meal. Because seasoning is king to food in general. And a lot of times, if you don't have other options, like in most traditional schools, there are multiple options now. There's fast food with all your fast food type of items, and then there's hot lunch in a sense, with some other items, and then there's whatever items on the side that you want to pick up, and potato chips or whatever the case may be. And so they have all these different options for you to be able to go and take. And then, with me coaching basketball, a lot of times, sometimes our guys don't even eat if they're eating at the lunchroom, which is like danger zone for an athlete, skipping meals. And they either go out to eat, most of them go out to eat for lunch, and they're eating fast food. As an athlete, I mean, we would love for them to partake in a healthier choice. When it comes to health, it definitely helps with clarity, because if they're eating healthy food, they're not sleeping in class, all the time because of the food being heavy. I'm sure they're probably in good moods after lunch, great energy, maybe positive energy, I should say. I just think it also helps with the overall mindset and thought process of the kid, because now, with them indulging in the food that they're bringing to the table, it is something that helps in the education process, for them to see something growing, or help it grow, and then it goes for them to eat.
Right.
So that's another education piece that can go a long ways as well.
So when you're coaching, so I'm assuming your players that you're coaching, they know that you're plant-based. How do they respond to that? And I'm sure you encourage them to eat plant-based food. How does that go along with the sports group?
I mean, I'm always talked about. So whenever they talk about me and my eating habits, I tell them, hey, man, I mean, I've been talked about all my life. I have to do what's best for me. And when we go out to eat, I always try to find places that they would like to eat, but I can always find something to eat for myself at one of the restaurants or places that they like to go. And then also, our strength and conditioning coach is a plant-based guy, and so he's been trying to get our players and our parents all on board, because he knows the benefits of it. So we've been working, both of us have been trying to work our way into encouraging parents to get our guys smoothies in the morning. If they don't like to eat breakfast, get them a smoothie.
Smoothies are great. I encourage all parents first of all kids like smoothies. All adults like smoothies. Who doesn't like a smoothie, right? And you can have a sweet, fresh fruit smoothie and throw some kale in there and some spinach and make it like super healthy. You can throw some chia, some hemp, some other things in there and make it really nutritious. But that's something, it's so easy to do. You can do it quick from home. Definitely a good thing to encourage the players to do for sure.
That's something our strength and conditioning coach, Coach OB is his name, he's been working and trying to do since we brought him on 4 years ago. And we've had health seminars for our players and parents, trying to introduce them to just different ways to be able to help them in their health. And so it's been a grind, but it doesn't stop.
No, don't stop. All you can do is, plant the seed, right? That's all you can do is you're planting the seed, you're giving them information, you're being a mentor for them. Have you watched Game Changers with them?
I haven't watched Game Changers with them, but that is a great documentary that I've seen a couple times, actually.
That's really good for the sports kids. I've noticed that because we'll show that to our high school sports kids. And they really respond well to that because there's a lot of very known popular athletes in that documentary. And it's a little like shocking. Like if you don't realize those things when you're hearing all these known figures in that documentary speaking, you're like, what? Like, like all these people are plant-based? Like they're shocked, you know? I think that would be a great thing to watch with your sports teams, you know, because I think that's super fun.
My wife introduced not just myself, but all of us to the documentary series, which it was very disturbing, but very eye-opening on how the animals were killed. And that was what we were eating. And so that kind of got the juices flowing a little bit. My wife was kind of instrumental in that transformation process as well because she's a health and wellness guru and she's been doing some work like that for 20 years or so.
It's awesome.
So that was very instrumental in my transformation. And we've shared it with family as well. And so they've had to make their own decisions. And we want to make sure that we're sharing the knowledge.
Were there any books or documentaries or movies or anything that you felt were really instrumental in your journey?
We watched What the Health, Game Changers. There was a gentleman who did fast food, McDonald's, I think, for a certain amount of time.
I think it was called Super Size Me.
Yeah, Super Size Me.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that was very eye-opening for me and probably all those that watched it. All those things, those documentaries are very, very good and eye-opening, great information. I think a lot of people don't want to see it.
Ignorance is bliss, you know?
That's the reason why people don't want to watch it. Like, I don't want to watch it.
So I really want people to be encouraged to look into these things now before these things happen because we can prevent so many health occurrences from happening just by changing our diet. And that's just something, I know that's a big message for both of us, a very same message.
Diet and exercise are two components that go hand in hand, because if you don't do some form of exercise, that's something I struggle with because for the longest time, all I did was exercise.
Yeah, what do you mean you struggle with exercise? Like that to me would be the last thing. I struggle with exercise. I can't imagine that you struggle with exercise. I would think that that's like you just are very physically active on a normal day.
I wish that was the case. I try to walk on occasions. That doesn't normally happen. It's an internal struggle. A lot of times I feel like I got burned out. During that stretch where I just retired, I just stopped working out. I've been doing it for quite some time, and I just don't feel like I want to do it anymore.
So I'm glad you're being so honest about it because I think most people really struggle with that. Physical activity is a tough thing. It's like it's personal care time, right? Taking care of yourself every day. And part of that personal care time is exercising. I think it's easy in high school or in school because it's part of your daily schedule, right? You have PE, you go to PE, you're exercising. But when you're a grown up, it is not a requirement. And it's something that's very easy for us to push aside. So I think that that's very transparent of you. And I appreciate that because that's how most people are living. They don't want to do it. And so they don't do it. But we both know it's so important to do. And let me tell you something. I was just giving you advice and laughing because it's like, take my advice. I'm not using it, right? I need to be out there walking too. It's so hot. We're in Florida. You're in Florida also. I mean, it's like 1,000,001 degrees outside,
right?
So it's really tough to get out there. And then who wants to go to a gym? So it's definitely, you really have to encourage yourself or have a support system with you that's going to do that. I think switching to a plant-based diet is much easier than the physical activity part as an adult.
There's something that was very important was, having a support system. That's twofold. One, we have to be willing to have a support system. And two, the support system will definitely help you. As I talked about in my journey, my wife being there to go through that process with me was very encouraging. And it helped me with my sustainability of following through with the plant-based diet or the raw portion of it, because it wasn't, the ideal situation, but I knew it was important for me and my transformation for my health and having her there was definitely a great blessing for me. Now, my kids, they weren't on board for it. So I'm glad she was there for me.
What advice can you give to people, but especially parents, in swapping out foods at home to plant-based meals for the whole family, specifically when you've got kids in the house?
There are some meals that myself or my wife prepare. My kids now, they don't eat my cooking because they know most times I prepare something and they're like, they don't like it, which is cool. And sometimes it's not good because I either overcooked it or whatever the case may be. But I'll be willing to eat it. But my wife is very good, seasons it well, and the whole nine. But we've gotten them into some form of plant-based for them to have meals on occasions. So that's how we were able to get them into that plant-based mindset. But we also raised them on eating vegetables early on. And so our kids, they don't mind eating salad. Like people ask, you eat salad? The kid, how do you get them to eat salad? How do you get them to eat broccoli or whatever the vegetable may be? I mean, it's because we brought them up that way. And like I said, if we season it right, then you can do quite a few things. Mushrooms is something we eat a lot of, and we add it to our mix. Like I made which I thought was good. My daughter, she didn't care for it too much, but it was no tuna, which we made with
Oh,
chickpeas.
yeah, I love that.
Yes, made with chickpeas, and it was to me it was really really good, and my wife she enjoyed it as well. And so, but just I just shared this just the other day. Our daughter, she made a sweet potato with garbanzo beans. It's like a Mediterranean dish, and so we had that along with some salad. That's what she made for us. Our kids kind of gravitated towards some of the styles of food that are plant based.
So, as someone who's transitioned from a successful sports career to now inspiring others through your story, what advice would you give to our students and others about pursuing their passions and staying resilient in the face of challenges?
I was just listening to a pastor, um, and he was talking about standards and boundaries. And it's something I always talk to our kids about. Whenever you have standards and you have boundaries, you can't allow other people to come in and pull you across to their standard and their boundary outside your boundary. And so you have to guard what God has given you. Whatever your standard is, you have to be willing to say no to anything that comes outside that's going to hinder you from being who God has called you to be. And I talk to our kids about boundaries. There's a reason why in most athletic fields, there are lines around the field. That's the boundary. Like if it goes outside those lines, then there's a penalty. And so for us in our lives, we got to make sure that we have our boundaries, things that we say we're not going to do.
I love the way you just put that. I think that was such a great visual. Like, I can see explaining it to elementary kids like that. I love it, where you said the boundary line in sports, and I think that made it very clear. That's a great way to explain it to students, I believe.
Yeah, so you just have to make sure that your whatever is on the inside, everything is legal. You know, your whatever your standard is, but you can't allow people on the outside to come and take you outside of what you desire to do. So that is what I would encourage people to make sure they understand that whatever their standard is, and they set boundaries. Don't allow people to push you past what you want to do.
So tell us what you're doing now.
Besides coaching high school basketball, I do a lot of public speaking around the country and spending time with the family. Our family foundation has been embarking upon a journey of building a youth and family sports education and wellness campus here in Tallahassee. It's a collaboration that we are looking to have with other nonprofits and for profits to have a one-stop shop model for the youth and family. And part of that is mental health counseling, having a counseling center, having a wellness center, and sports as a hub, and then some education components as well. And so we just want to make it to where kid comes or family comes and they can get all the services that they need at the campus. One of the components will be teaching them about plant-based eating.
That's awesome. That you're doing a lot of great things. That's really terrific. So where and how can people follow you on social media and learn more about what you're doing?
Well, you can go to charlieward.org for all the things that I've been doing or will be doing for me to come and speak to your group. And I'm Charlie Ward Official on Facebook, and I'm Charlie Ward Official on Instagram. That is not my wheelhouse. I need to get better at that. It's one of those, but you can find me on Instagram and Facebook if you just look up those.
All right. Do you have any last remarks you want to tell people, either something we didn't cover today or something that you want to just reiterate or get out there? Are there any messages that you feel like you still want to talk about a little bit?
First of all, commendable for you guys for doing what you do at your school.
Thank you.
And I appreciate your story. Your journey was very encouraging as well. And to see you doing well is a great blessing. And I just think that more people will see this plant-based journey as a necessity. Like, we all have our issues. My doctor, Dr. Baxter Montgomery, he's in Houston, Texas. He's a cardiologist, but he's a plant-based cardiologist. So he started his own kitchen, his own vitamins, and he has his own practice. And his goal is for people to get off their medication. And he's providing these opportunities for them to do that. I know there are more doctors like him. I just think we need more.
Yes.
To have, for all of us to be able to have access to those type of health clinicians that understand it. He went through the normal training of medical school. He had issues with his mom. His mom had cancer, and he saw all the different things that they were doing, and he was like, there has to be a better way. And so he started digging a little deeper into plant-based, and that's what he's doing now. And so he still deals with medicine, but he also helps those with trying to change them to the plant-based lifestyle because he knows the benefits of it. And I think that's the biggest key is we just got to understand and know that the benefits are much better with the plant-based diet. We have to get out of the norm of, what everybody else is doing or the other world saying this is better. We just have to start digging into the information and applying it. But the key is eating more plants is what I like to say.
Yeah, and people have to start somewhere.
Correct.
And I always think the best place to start is with education. Just start there. Just take a step in and start.
Right.
And thank you very much, Charlie, for sharing your insights and experiences with us today.
Oh, you're welcome.
The Plant the Change podcast explores how education drives societal transformation, nurturing compassionate and responsible citizens, and plants the seeds of change for a better tomorrow. At Solid Rock, Florida, we're a nonprofit committed to compassionate, humane education, an approach that blends academic excellence, ethical responsibility, and emotional growth. We're doing something unique, and we need your support to expand our impact and strengthen our efforts to create lasting change. Visit solidrockflorida.org and click the donate button at the top of the page to see our current initiatives. You choose where your contribution goes, and every tax-deductible donation, no matter the amount, is greatly appreciated. Show your support and stay updated on future episodes and initiatives by following Plant the Change on YouTube and Solid Rock on Facebook and Instagram, at Solid Rock Community School, and at Sanctuary at Solid Rock. Together, we can redefine the future of education and create a world that's guided by compassion and ethical responsibility. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep making a difference.